Hello everybody, I am Jmulls of Jmulls Gaming, and Xbox still can't catch a break. For those who don't know, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 has come out, and, well, it's being reviewed well, but being received well, that's a different story. Also a lot of wells. If we hop on over to Steam charts right now, and yeah, bear in mind, this is only for Steam, but Steam is like the big place on PC, and it's not doing that well. For a game that is supposed to be one of Xbox's biggest highlights of the year, you would expect its all-time peak to be above 3,892 players. And a debate is formed around this game. Yeah, there's actual conversation happening about whether or not the game being about 5 hours is the main cause, and I think to some degree it is. But it's a bit more nuanced than that. But I do think the answer to why Hellblade 2 is seemingly struggling is quite clear. It's basically a $50 movie that is only 5 hours long. You see, I played, in preparation for this video, about the first 45 to 50 minutes of this game, and I was woefully, entirely unimpressed. Now, bear in mind, the game's only about 5 hours long, so I played a decent percentage of it, and I just don't know who this is necessarily supposed to appeal to. I played it on Game Pass because I'm not paying $50 for this, but most other people aren't gonna play it on Game Pass. They're gonna buy the game. And asking $50 for 5 hours, yeah, there's an entire conversation happening about whether or not you should judge the length of the game against the price point of the game, but let's be fair here. $50 is a lot of money to a lot of people, especially when that $50 can go to other games, or a series of other games depending upon whether or not you strike gold in a sale or not. There's a lot of people that want shorter games, especially in an era of gaming where a lot of games seemingly try to squeeze in as much filler content or just time padding as they possibly can to bloat up the value proposition of the game and the overall play time, to try and give you this feeling of bang for your buck. There's a lot of people out there that don't want that. They just want a really quality, polished product, even if it's way shorter, because it's way more manageable and digestible. Not every game needs to be this 100-hour experience, and that's completely understandable and an idea that I support. However, if you are going to charge $50 for 5 hours, that 5 hours should be of the highest quality, and I mean, in terms of visuals, sure, kinda, and I wouldn't even argue that for Hellblade 2. If you paid attention during the promotion for this game, you'll notice it largely dealt with the artistic side of things. Senua as a character, the world of Iceland, I guess. The sound design and all that. When people are interested in a game and you want a game to do well on a big scale, you need to sell people on the game. And just because you have a dark, mature theme, that doesn't mean it's cool, or that people en masse are gonna want to partake in that. And the combat is so woefully one-dimensional and just strictly boring. Pretty much every fight I experienced in Hellblade 2, in my first 45 minutes, which, funnily enough, wasn't that much, and was kind of back-ended to, after the first 30, just amounted to learning the one combo the enemy does, and do you have to dodge or parry it? And maybe, if you should use a light attack or a heavy attack. Oh no, exciting, right? Makes you want to play the game immediately. It's so slow and just meandering and dull. And I know I'm sounding harsh here, but this game is the perfect representation of what a lot of people criticize Sony games to be. Movies with extremely bare-bone combat, and I don't think that's what a lot of Sony games are. Because if you stack this up against, say, God of War, it's night and day. And during my time with Hellblade 2, the game is so overly serious, it gets to the point of absurdity where I just can't take it seriously. It's trying so hard to be a playable movie, where it even has these black bars on the screen. This isn't a movie, I'm playing a video game, I have my monitor, I want to use all those pixels, I don't want a large section of it chopped off so you can do some weird shenanigans with subtitles on the bottom of it. It doesn't make your game look cinematic or cool, it makes it look pretentious, because it largely is. The level design is just bad. You walk at a shockingly slow pace because Senua's injured for like the first hour of this game, through a series of glorified corridors and like one maze, which is barely a maze. Have a series of fights which basically amount to, can you hit the dodge button or can you hit the parry button in extremely generous windows, and then can you just attack in like the simplest of terms. All the while you have this dialogue going in the background because they're trying to go off what they did with Hellblade 1. I think it's schizophrenia that Senua has. I don't know the exact condition, but basically she's hearing voices constantly. She doesn't know what's real or what's not. Now this could be interesting if the voices you heard throughout the entirety of my play session of Hellblade 2 didn't basically amount to voices backseating you, and every now and then they'd laugh at you. It basically just felt like I was streaming the game even though I wasn't, and that the voices would chat. It's just an idea that I don't think was executed or at least translated well here. I think it's an idea that could be good if the gameplay wasn't so boring. At the end of the day, it's still a video game. Now, why am I talking so much about Hellblade 2 here? Because I don't think that just because it's a short game is why it's seeing this middling performance. The bigger issues is not the fact that it's 5 hours. That's a big one, don't get me wrong. But that within those 5 hours, it just feels like a pretentious art piece. $50 for a 5-hour game is a really hard sell under the best of conditions. Because for a lot of people out there, yeah, you can pose the argument, what would you prefer, a long game of middling quality or a short game of high quality, and act as if you're supposed to say the shorter game with high quality? A lot of people out there will just go, well, I'll take the bigger game with more quality. Because let's not pretend as if those don't exist. And especially for a lot of people that don't want to just spend $50 for a 5-hour walking simulator, which is what this largely amounts to. And I swear, for like the beginning 5 minutes or so, I didn't even touch the controller. I forget how long it was, but like, I had the controller down on my desk and I didn't touch it. And it took longer than you'd think for me to have to pick it up just to walk down corridors. I still think short games can work in the year 2024. I just don't think Hellblade 2 is a good representation of them. It's as simple as that. It's a game that seemingly leans away from what makes it a video game and tries to embrace being a glorified movie art project that is wildly overpriced, overly serious, and just doesn't look engaging or fun, even from the promotional material. And when you play it, even if you play a little bit of it on like Game Pass or whatever, that intro does not hook you. I'm sorry, it doesn't. I think the recap for the first game is okay, because I didn't play the first game, but it has a massive issue of telling not showing, but also then the game is just bleh. It's exactly what you would think when someone says walking simulator. Like, now this is the goalpost for that. This is what people will refer to when they say walking simulator, in a bad way. Because I don't think this game would do even that much better if it was cheaper. I think it would do better, but I don't think it would be like what puts Xbox back on the map or anything. Which is a shame, because I would love to see a resurgence in shorter games, and we may be getting that with Astrobot, depending upon how much is actually in that game. Not every game needs to be a 100+ hour RPG filled to the brim with side content or an open world and stuff like that. One of my favorite games the last couple of years was Armored Core 6, which didn't have an open world and was a really nice compact experience. Has lots of replayability if you want it, but is highly polished and well crafted. One of my favorite games of all time is a game called Journey, which is only like 90 minutes long. But within that 90 minutes, and which is also what many consider to be a walking simulator, is a highly polished, well-crafted game. Interesting things for you to discover, nothing complex or anything like that, but it's well constructed. You have a good sense of progression with your scarf. And the story that unravels is genuinely compelling with amazing music in the background. It's fun and engaging, two things that I don't think Hellblade 2 are. So like, you can consider this my first impressions for Hellblade 2, but it's also just... that's why I think Hellblade 2's not doing all that well, and why I don't think it'll have a lot of staying power or be talked about for years to come. It's overpriced, it's really short, and if you're going to do a really short but expensive game, you have to be filled to the brim with amazing, highly curated, well-constructed content, and it just isn't that. Boring level design. There was like one puzzle, which was just a perspective puzzle where you had to look at the place in a certain way, which was extremely obvious. Combat that does absolutely nothing. It doesn't feel gritty, it doesn't feel visceral, it just feels boring and slow and meandering. Just because you show Senua stabbing someone with the sword and you see the sword go through all the way doesn't mean it's gonna be cool or fun. It's a shame because I think Hellblade is a really good idea, and I know a lot of people are receptive to it, and that's entirely fine. We don't have to have the same preferences or opinions when it comes to a game. But when it comes to Hellblade 2, I'm not surprised that it's not doing that well, because it doesn't feel as if it's trying to embrace the fact that it's a video game. It's not trying to deliver an experience that's fun and or compelling and or engaging from a video game perspective. It's a $50 double feature movie where the world is not that gripping, not that interesting, obscured for no reason because of black boxes on the screen, because they want to be like a movie, is slow and uninteresting. I think that's why Hellblade 2 is not doing all that well. And you may say, well, Jmulls, you only played the first 45 minutes. It's like a 5-hour game. Like, that is a significant chunk of the game. And assuming it becomes some amazing experience after the exact point I left off, that means it's even less value for dollar compared to a 5-hour game at $50. If there's only 4 hours of actually interesting content, which I highly doubt. It just feels as if it would be more of the same. Well, I should probably end this video before this video becomes longer than the game itself, so I'm going to call the video there for the day. I don't think Hellblade 2 is a representation that shorter games can exist in the year 2024. I just think Hellblade 2 is not a good example of a well-crafted, engaging short game. That's my main point. And with that, I'll call the video there for the day. Thank you all for tuning in. My pleasure for making the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out and helps support future content, and I greatly appreciate it. And leave a comment down below with your thoughts, your opinions on Helldivers. Sorry, I was thinking of a good game. Hellblade 2. Do you have a different perspective to me? Do you actually really enjoy Hellblade 2? Let me know, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and hear your perspectives. Because I'm not saying that I'm correct, I'm just saying this is why I don't like Hellblade 2, why I have no desire to continue it, and why I think a lot of people aren't going to pick it up or aren't picking it up. Like, this is why I think this is happening. And if you agree with me, let me know as well. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions and perspectives. Stay safe, have a great day, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye, everybody, until we meet again.